Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, welcome back to Baby Got Stacks. We had some technical difficulties, but
somehow still
we're making it work.
Don't worry about it. So this week, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. And we got our most Christmassy book,
Yes.
Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayliss.
Yes.
The author of The 12 Dates of Christmas.
Never read that.
The more I was looking into her, the more I kept hearing about that book and how people really like that book.
Huh.
And a little disappointed in this one.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. I mean, I gave it 4 out of 5.
I gave it 3.5.
If I remember correctly.
It is 410 pages.
Yeah, it's not bad. Doable.
Let's see, do you want to read the back? Shall I read the back? Do you want to read the back?
Yeah, I can read the back. I just want to make sure I remembered that I actually read it 4 out of 5 before I get a little gung-ho. Yes,
I think you did.
4.
Yeah.
Yes. Alrighty.
I have feelings about this book.
Oh,
okay. I did.
Okay. Well, we'll hear all the feelings. Alright. Eleanor Noel, Nori for short, is quite content running her second-hand bookshop in London. Forever torn between her working-class upbringing and her classmates' extravagant lifestyles at the posh private school she attended on scholarship, Nori has finally figured out how to keep both at equal distance. So when 2 of her oldest friends invite their whole gang to spend the time leading up to their wedding together at the castle near their old school, Nori must prepare herself for an emotionally complicated few days. The reunion brings back fond memories, but also requires Nori to dodge an ill-advised former fling. When she falls quite literally into the arms of Isaac, the castle's head gardener, who has nothing but contempt for the snobby prep school kids, the attraction between them is undeniable. Yet as Nori spends more time with Isaac during the wedding festivities, she finds herself falling hard for the boy she used to consider an enemy. Nori and Isaac explore their common ground, but pressures mount on all sides, and Nori must decide what kind of life she wants to live and what sort of love is worth the risk.
I felt like it was a bit too long.
Yeah, there was a point in the book that kind of, like, I don't want to say made me upset, but when the brother gets involved with them, so this book, the main characters are, like, in their 30s.
Yeah.
And just the way, so this book was also based in London.
In London, yeah.
So they talked different anyways. And just, like, the way they were talking made them sound like they were in their 50s. And when the brother kept getting involved in his sister's relationships, I was like, what are we, in high school?
Yeah, why are you acting like children?
I was like, this is annoying.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be a rom-com. It felt more like women's fiction or like a literary contemporary or something, because it's not just focused on that relationship.
No.
And, okay, what did I write? Where am I?
Just started, already lost.
Immediately lost. Oh, also, there is 0 spice.
So that's...
It's a fade to black.
So that's why I gave it 4 out of 5. Because honestly, I thought it had, like, cute moments. Rom-com, I liked how it was written, but obviously I wanted some spice. I mean, you and I both read spicy books these days. We've really transitioned ourselves to that.
Yeah.
So now it's like, well, if I
expect,
yeah.
But yeah, if you're not looking to read spicy scenes, it's a fade to black. You don't get any description of what happens.
No.
Yeah, I felt it was cute but too long, and it was too big of a cast with too many side stories. Because you meet all of her friends and you get their backstory. I felt like this had a lot to do with the guy. Like, it was basically her and Guy's story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, we'll get into all the characters, but Guy was a big problem in this book.
Throughout. And it's a slow burn because they don't get together for a while.
Yeah.
And it tried to cover, like, a lot of heavier topics, like racism and classism and adultery and their suicide. And I just, besides the suicide, there wasn't a lot of follow through.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just brought it up almost like for the sake of bringing it up, I feel like. But it's like, I'm trying to read a rom-com here.
I get that. No, I get that.
Holiday rom-com.
Yeah, it does touch, I mean, you let me know before reading this that there was suicide in it to let me know, because obviously, judging from the book's cover, the cutesy little thing, reading the back, you would have never known. So definitely some trigger warnings there. I mean, they don't go into detail. They don't really go in.
It's mentioned throughout.
Yeah.
Because one of their friends,
Tristan,
I was going to say Trevor, had committed suicide. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what made them get together, or at least more often, because they were friends in school, and then they grew up and on their own life path, kind of doing their own thing, and then he passed away, and that kind of made them realize, like, oh, we need to spend more time together or something.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember all of their names, because there's so many of them. So one of their weddings, 2 of them got together.
Yes, so there's Nori, who's the main character.
I did, because...
Yeah, you have
made a character list.
She's got her sticky notes, ladies and gents.
Because I filled one entire sticky note of people's names in the first 10 pages.
Yeah.
And I have 2 filled sticky notes of people's names. So there's Nori. She's the bookstore owner, a seller. Also found her annoying. I did air quotes around seller because she makes a big deal of selling some of her books because she wants to keep them.
Yeah, so her bookstore is secondhand.
Vintage.
Yeah, but I don't remember the name. I tabbed one time of what the thing was called. But basically she finds vintage old books that are very rare to find. And yeah, she makes a huge deal about Serendipitous Seconds is what her bookstore is called. And yeah, she makes really bad decisions on like when to give books and when not to, and she has like a list of people that normally buy books from her, so when she sees a book that she thinks they'll like, she will call them. And I honestly loved the guy Andrew that works with her.
Her boy.
So she has an employee,
her only employee.
Yeah, and he has a husband, and then they have a daughter. Yeah. And I think her name is Matilda. And yeah Andrew is so funny to me. He's
funny.
Super sassy, and I love him very much.
So Nori's friend, like her closest friends, Amira, she sees her definitely more often than everybody
also
else.
Love Amira.
Amira's great. She's a barrister, lawyer person.
She's also very sassy.
Yeah, she's also very sassy.
Loved it very much.
And she's a barrister, but she doesn't really date. She kind of just has flings.
No, so when she was 17,
something like that,
she got into it with like a 26-year-old or something like that, like a crazy age gap, and basically swore that she would never fall in love ever again at 17.
At 17, she swore off men.
Yeah, and so she's got her man Barbie is what she calls them.
There's Guy, who is another one of their friends in the group. He's married and has 3 kids, but around Tristan's funeral, Nori and Guy hooked up. She didn't know he was married and at the time had 2 kids, and then they slept together, and afterwards when she found that all out, and so she doesn't want to go to this wedding because she has to see him again and face that
with Camille, which is his wife who
Camille,
doesn't know
doesn't know.
Yeah, I think I tabbed that part because they were like, she was like, I still can't believe no one stopped me. And she was like, and by the time Pippa spilled me and the sound of the headboard smacking the wall, I was like, Jesus.
And there's Jenna and Charles, the bride and groom who's getting married. Jenna is an actress in it almost seemed like soap opera.
It is a soap opera. Yeah.
And Charles is,
I don't know what Charles
is, but I did write Town Bike because apparently every girl in that friend group
has slept with
him at one point.
Yeah, so they talk about in the book that like some of the characters are from old money and some of them are from new money.
Yeah.
And so I think Charles is from old money.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about how they all went to like very prestigious private school, boarding, things like that.
And Nora's the only one who's not from a rich family because she got to that private school on a scholarship.
Yeah, so Nori's family owns a nursery and called Noel and Sons, and so they do a lot of like trees and plants and stuff.
Jake is Nori's dad. Thomas is Nori's brother. Shelley is Nori's sister-in-law, Thomas's wife, and they have Jackson.
Mm-hmm. They really threw me off when they would call him by Tom, but they did the THOM.
Yeah.
I was like, Thom?
Thom?
I was like, what has happened? Oh, they mean Tom.
There's Deb, who's Amira's latest man Barbie, who she slowly actually starts falling in love with because he's a model, but then they find out he's like
actually smart.
Yeah, smart. He has like degrees and like a bunch of stuff. And then there's Jeremy, the last one of that friend group.
Well, you forgot Pippa.
Oh, and Pippa. She's a house stylist.
Yeah.
There's Isaac that comes in, who's the castle's gardener.
Jeremy, I don't know if we learned what...
I don't know what he does.
Jeremy is kind of like the good guy in the group. He's
the most sane.
Yeah.
Well-rounded one.
Yeah.
There's so many, and we learn about most of them.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Right off the bat. And there's a lot of plant talk, which is just a me thing I don't like.
Yeah, see, I was totally fine with that. So, Mel hates plants. She doesn't like plants.
I'm not a plant.
I am a plant girl. I like flowers and plants and stuff. So, reading this book, I was totally fine with it.
I did like the book talk, like how she keeps a list of everyone and like if she finds a book. I like that idea. I think that'd be really cool to know a bookseller so well that curate to you.
I also liked Isaac's dog's name was Lettuce.
Yeah.
And I thought that was actually tabbed that so I would remember.
And Nori has a super old cat, 17-year-old cat with 3 legs. His name is Mugwort.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah, that was good.
He's not mentioned nearly enough. I also put Nori is annoying. Just sell the damn book. And she kind of acts like a child.
Yeah, so basically this book, there's not like plot twists or anything. Mm-hmm. It's just you basically see Isaac and Nori's relationship blossom. And then you find out that Nori's brother Thomas is really, like, I would say best friends with Isaac. And so he tries to get in the middle of Nori and Isaac's relationship and saying, like, you're not allowed to hurt each other. Like, you're not even allowed to see each other, which, like we said in the beginning of this, they're, like, in their 30s.
Yeah.
Let it go. Yeah. Like, it just really bugged me.
And the way they talk to each other is like children when they fight. And it's a lot.
There was kind of a plot twist. So we find out that Nori is really into Serena DeVere's paintings, and she's got books on them in her bookstore and things like that. And come to find out, Isaac's great grandma actually was the one that painted them, and she was one of the people that worked for the DeVeres, and the DeVeres actually stole it from his great grandma, and he used it as them.
Yeah, lets her know that secret, and he's scared that if he comes forth with it, tries to like right that wrong, that they'll take the rest of the paintings of hers, and like it'd be a financial drain, and it'd be a fight not worth the risk.
Yeah, because he'd lose a bunch of money because they have a ton more money. He's just a head gardener. Yeah. He's got like not that much money, and so
as soon as that came up, I was like, I know exactly where this is going. She's gonna do it.
Well, so yeah, come to find out, Nori does go behind her back and goes to Guy, which is the last person you'd want to go to because
Guy's a dick
and
a drunk and cheats on his wife and lies to her
and doesn't care about his wife whatsoever.
Not at all.
But Nori said that he's a fantastic journalist, and so she goes to him, and then, of course, Guy, being an idiot, tries to make a move on Nori.
Yeah, it's like, I thought this was why you called me. It's like, no, I called you for your journalist skills, you dumb butt.
So then, of course, Isaac walks in, thinks the worst, and kicks them out, which, honestly, I was like, Isaac, you were an idiot, because clearly he didn't even ask Nori her side.
Yeah.
He just assumed the worst.
I would still be mad at Nori for telling someone that secret. I specifically told her not to tell anybody and that I didn't want to do anything about it, but not the Guy part.
You're right about that. Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, the banter in this book, so I tabbed one when Jenna is super pissed off at Guy because he gets into a fight with Jeremy and
his wife leaves.
Yes.
And it's basically, you kind of assume like, oh, they're separating, so he just stays drunk the rest of the time, and he comes stumbling out and makes remarks to Nori, and like, oh,
well, she's on a horse
or something. Yeah, and so
freaks the horse out, and then it becomes a whole ordeal. And so I tapped one because when Jenna finds out, she goes, Guy Bailey, I hereby rescind your invitation to my wedding, you utter fuckwit.
Yeah,
and I was laughing.
I just pictured her at like on the second story, like, over the banister, just yelling it down into the whole castle that they're in.
And basically Jenna, so because Jenna's a celebrity, OK Magazine was coming to do the whole thing on the wedding. Yeah. And of course things were not going correctly. The airbrush tanner person made her look like a Cheeto, and then that was a whole thing. And then, of course, some of the groomsmen, after getting in a fight with Guy, had, like, bruises and bloody lips and stuff.
And there was another soap opera actress, who got engaged and announced that on her wedding weekend, and that was the whole thing. And you just... I did like the castle setting. The castle was cool.
I liked the castle.
I liked the garden. I liked the bookshop. Yes. Just the way they described her bookshop of, like, I got old used chairs and just, like, refurnished it so you can, like, sit and it's cozy and there's just a bunch of books everywhere. I'm like, that is my ideal.
They did a really good job of painting the scene. Yeah. And we also find out that Nori lived nearby, and so she actually she grew up, like, in the castle gardens and stuff. Yeah. Because her family was always in the, like, gardening business. And so she had never actually been a guest at the castle until now. And so she got to see, like, the luxury of it. Yeah.
I will say it's not very Christmassy, but it is wintry. Yes. I will give it that.
Yeah, it's not really, but it is wintry, yeah.
It's wintry. I did skim a decent amount of this, I will say, throughout some of the conversations that they were having, just because,
it's a lot.
They just kind of went on and on.
There was, so the last half that I have in this book, it's when Nori and Amira are stuck in traffic on the way.
I do love that part.
And Amira figures out finally that she's in love. Yeah. Even though everyone else knew it, but she couldn't, like, tell herself. And they start screaming and crying because Amira's just like, I love him so much, and I love you, and Nori's like, I love you more. And then there's a knock at the window, and this guy was like, is everything all right, ladies? My wife and I, we couldn't help hearing a lot of screaming and crying. And Amira was like, it's better than fine. I'm in love, you see. And Nori was like, and we never thought it would happen, but it has, and he loves her back. And then the guy's like, well, that's wonderful. Angela, which is his wife in the car behind them, he's like, it's okay, there's no problem. She's crazy in love. And then Angela gets out of the car, and she's like, who is this? Who's in love, Eric? And Mira was like, I am. And then she looks at Nori, and she's like, are you the lucky lady? And she was like, no. And then Angela's like, and he loves you too? And they literally get out and hug her. Yeah. I'm like, what is happening? What is happening?
But my favorite is like, Angela, it's okay.
They're just in love. And I'm like, this is so, like, I feel like this is, I don't want to say a typical London thing, but I'm like, does this happen regularly? Yeah. Because this doesn't happen in America. No, I can tell you that right now.
No.
It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt the main conflict with Guy, who's a side character, like, you really don't, it's not completely focused on Nori and Isaac. So that's why I don't feel like it's a true romance.
Yeah. Yeah, there was just some things that I was like, this doesn't really need to...
It doesn't relate back to what I thought was going to be focused on the couple.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was, like, this feud when they were younger. So, like, there was a whole thing about Isaac throwing manure at Nori's head. And come to find out it was the boys that had done that. And they just put it on that Isaac had done it because it was easier back then, and they just let it go on for like 20 years. I'm like, what is happening? Yeah. It was like I said, I gave it 4 out of 5 because I mean I personally like plants, so like that I liked it. There was just some things that didn't necessarily need to be in the book, and
it would have shortened it up.
And I just didn't like how this felt like it almost felt like a YA book. Just
yeah, I can see that.
Just based off of like Thomas getting involved with their relationships and things. And I'm like, we're in our 30s.
I was gonna say you can change all this so they're teenagers, and it would make sense. You wouldn't be confused at all.
Yeah, because I kept thinking like, how old are these people? Because their banter reminded me of them in like their 50s, but then they really were in their 30s. But then also this was happening.
The conflict.
Yeah, and like I said, like, Isaac never got her. He just shut her out completely. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, at least gotta talk. Yeah. Communication. I don't... Does no one understand this?
No, they don't.
Yeah. It was a little frustrating to read.
Yeah.
That part.
And I was gonna answer the questions in the back, because there's questions in the back.
Oh, I did not.
But they all felt like if you... Like, you had to take this book, like, seriously. Like, it's an actual, like, AP literature book you're trying to, like, dissect.
Oh, yeah.
And I did not take it
discuss
like
the symbolism?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't think there is. Like, this is just...
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
On
surface level.
I'm sorry, Jenny Bayliss, but
it's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, so she actually is a former professional cake baker, which I thought was interesting. And she only has 2 other books, at least...
Noted.
Yeah, The 12 Dates of Christmas and A Season for Second Chances, which clearly she likes her Christmas books. But there's nothing wrong with that at all.
I love a good Christmas rom-com. And when I was looking at reviews and stuff, it seemed like other people enjoyed those books more and were a little disappointed in this one.
Well, then maybe I'll try to...
Yeah, I'll probably read her other ones. But yeah, a lot of people are saying it's just long, it's not focused on the romance part. It just feels more like women's fiction in general.
Yeah, it's hard. So I always base my rom-com books off of Things We Never Got Over because that was my favorite book this year. So I always kind of put them side by side because that was like the top for me. Mm-hmm. So I wanted more spice. Like finally when they were getting together, it just like ended and went to the next chapter and I was like, okay, we're just gonna pass that. But all right.
Yeah. And it just went back to the friend. It should have been advertised more about the friend group rather than that romance because it was like a side plot. It felt like.
Yeah, and she also kept having to like sneak off. I'm like, these people would be okay.
They're fine. Like they keep trying to invite him over and stuff, and she's like, why? Like you're making the separating thing weird.
Yeah, it was very strange because he didn't want to really be with her friends because they were snobby and all this stuff,
and they were.
And they were.
Charles and Guy's was worse.
Yeah, they really were. So it just... And then they also took a tour of their old school.
Yeah, it was like, we don't need this.
Well, and that's when racism occurred, because the tour guide...
Yeah, and Charles started crying. The classism at first, and the racism, because she assumed that...
The African-American lady, Katie, was the one that couldn't get in on her own, when it actually was Nori. And everyone was just like, oh, crap.
And then Charles apologized to Amir for being racist. It's like...
Yeah, I was like...
Yeah.
So, it was a decent book. I mean, Holly Jolly Spirit and all that, but... This is really, like, the only book that I'm able to read a holiday season. I have another book that's holiday, but I'm not going to be able to... There's no way I can read that. I'm about halfway done with the book that's coming up. Yeah. So I need to keep up with the books that we have reading.
Yeah, I don't know what else. There's not much else to say about this one.
It was decent.
It was fine, but I feel like you can find better holiday rom-coms. Because this wasn't a whole lot
there's
of
a couple. Well, there's at least one that I've heard a lot about on TikTok. I don't really remember what it's called, but it's like the revenge of something. But it kind of looks like Mean Girls. Like on the cover, it's pink. And it's got like a Polaroid photo like drawn on, and it has like cartoon couple. I don't know. I've heard it's very spicy and holiday-y, and I've heard very good things about that.
I'll have to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
Though there's no more holiday that I can fit into this reading schedule. So
we're
either read it.
We're tapped out.
Winter in general, or just wait till next year. But then more are gonna come out next year, and then what do you do?
I know. It's
what are you gonna do?
Never ending. Never ending. But yeah, I mean, like we said, it's a decent book.
It's fine.
It wasn't, oh my god, this is amazing.
Did you notice that all the books this month have been okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of a bummer. What are you gonna do? Hopefully January is better. I will be posting the January schedule soon, maybe like Monday or Tuesday. So after you celebrate Christmas, you can go check out our Instagram at Baby Got Stacks Podcast.
Yes.
See what we got going on for January.
We've got a good mixture in January. We have got a horror book, got rom-com, witchy, true crime. I'm really excited about the true crime. That's my favorite.
So excited.
And then February, we actually already have February figured out too, because that's going to be all rom-com.
Lovey-dovey.
Which I'm so excited about, because that's my favorite.
Yeah. So check out our Instagram. We have a TikTok.
Eventually.
It's there.
We'll also be having our extra bonus episode come out
Wednesday. I made it so it'll come out earlier in case you have time. We have our bonus 2022 wrap-up episode. Check that out. Talk about all the books we've read this year, our favorites, our least favorite, what we want to read next.
Yeah. what we're excited that comes out next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we really get... That was a very fun episode.
That was fun.
To record. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I guess this is the last of
2022.
2022 official episode, besides that bonus one. So yeah, stay tuned for January and next year in general. We'll have some good stuff going.
We will sneak peek. The very first book of January is going to be horror. So if that's your cup of tea, I'm about halfway done, and let me tell you, it is wild.
I'm pretty excited that that's the first one of the new year.
Yeah, it's wild. So we'll let you know what it is when we release it.
Yeah,
for all of January.
I guess that started soon because that's coming out New Year's Day.
Yes.
Wild.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. But yeah, thanks for listening. I mean, we started this podcast, we thought about it, and it took a week for us to get this up and rolling, and look at us now.
Look at us go.
So, thank you for sticking with us, and hopefully you'll stick with us for 2023, and we'll have a lot more episodes, and a lot more books to read and talk about.
Yeah. All right. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
See you in the new year.
Yes, see you in the new year. Bye, guys.
Bye.